Okay. And live stream, continue. Oh, I see it here. Okay. All right. I'm going to hit go live and then I'm going to share it in the group. So just give me 2 seconds and then we'll get this party started.
Love it.
Okay. So you might want to get off presentation mode for the first minute here so we can introduce you
Okay.
proper. Okay. We are back with another amazing episode of our Wellness Wednesday. We are doing interviews like this to, number one, introduce all of the amazing practitioners and people with different modalities into our community. And number two, I wanted to first of all congratulate Carmen and welcome her to as one of our newest members in our referral network. So let me just quickly share this. I don't want anybody to miss this because this is important information that nobody talks about, and we don't want anybody missing this amazing information. So, first of all, welcome everybody. This is another episode of our Wellness Wednesday. I'm so grateful to have met Carmen, and I wanted to give a shout out to Rachel Leone. She's one of our
Yeah.
newest founding businesses in our network. And when she heard my story, she said, I have somebody that you have to meet. And when I met Carmen just the other day, we literally had a 2 hour conversation. And there's so many things that we can talk about, but her area of expertise is, something that's not really taught in the medical system these days, especially here in Canada. And there's not really a lot of support for women that are going through menopause or perimenopause. So I just wanted to quickly share my quick story because, this relates to a lot of people that may not know what's going on with their health. But I'm so happy to have an expert now to help us navigate this new world that we're all facing. So, many of you know my story of, me losing my period when I got vaccinated, and I've been trying to get my health back to optimized state ever since. My doctors, the medical teams that I've seen have shunned me. They said, "Oh, it's just because of your age." I mean, at 39 years old, getting the jab and then losing my period and them not willing to help me in any way, shape, or form, I've had to become my own health advocate. And that's one of the reasons why we've started this amazing network is so we can share information like what Carmen's going to share today and help you navigate this new world and lock arms with amazing practitioners and people like Carmen so you can get, number one, feeling better. Number two, get all the information that you need and get all the testing that even Life Labs doesn't do. Okay. So, Carmen, let's start off with introducing yourself. Please share with the entire network, how did you get into this industry? And a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll dive into the actual information. And obviously, at the end, we're going to put all her information so you can directly contact her. She's going to offer you guys a consultation. But let's talk about, how did you get started and share a little bit more so people can, get to know you.
Yeah, so thank you for that. And just before I start to talk about myself, can I just echo what you just said, Kelly? Because there is so much medical gaslighting going on. Women being dismissed, told their hormones are normal, but they don't feel normal. And so what you went through is not an isolated case, and it honestly breaks my heart. And from my own personal experience, I've seen how much the doctors don't know about these hormonal changes with perimenopause to menopause, even the women. And sometimes the women are a bit more arrogant than the men, I found.
Mhm.
So yeah, how I got into nutrition is this is actually my second career. I used to work in advertising back east in Montreal, and I went through a really bad burnout and started having all these hormonal issues. I didn't know they were hormonal at the time, and I couldn't get the help through the medical system. They just kept offering me, antidepressants and, anti-anxiety medication. And intuitively, I'm like, but that's not what's wrong. I knew there was something off. I just had unexplainable fatigue, could not get out of bed, could not sleep at night. The weight just kept pouring on, but my diet was good. so like nothing made sense and I wasn't getting help. And kind of like you, I went down my own rabbit hole and I ended up taking a leap of faith and I quit my career and I went back to school here in Vancouver. And then I've understood everything came together with this aha moment of, oh, that's what happened. And then I started learning about stress hormones and sex hormones and how they affect your fatigue and your weight and your mood and your sleep. So right away, I was like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm meant to support other women, high performing women, high achieving, perfectionistic women, because I know I'm not the only one to go through it. So many women are suffering in silence and they're not getting the support they need and they're not getting the root cause help that they need. They're just getting drugs for symptoms, but none of that is actually dealing with the root cause.
Right.
So my passion is really filling those gaps between the medical industry and the wellness industry. And just also, I have my own personal experience with the hopelessness that you feel.
Right. And I wanted to just touch a little bit on that too, because, let's be real. All of my friends, we're all dealing with this at this point in our lives. But if could work with somebody like Carmen and learn how to navigate your health and feel better, would that be worth it to you? I mean, there's the things that I've experienced, I would not wish on anyone. And unfortunately now, because of what happened to me, I'm unable to have children. But there's a lot of people that really just don't know why they feel horrible. And this is why we decided to do this Wellness Wednesday talk today, because I think, you know, number one, you need to get the information. Number two, you need to understand about the proper testing that's available to you. And then you need to come up with a plan. And this is what I really love about Carmen is she
Oh,
wants to get to the root cause of the problem and do all the proper testing and then now help you navigate through diet and nutrition and all of these other things to help you get back to your optimal state feeling amazing.
oh my God, I love you. This is exactly it. You could be my saleswoman.
Well, that's the point of our network.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
So let's take a little bit of a deep dive. Let's talk a little bit about the information. I know you have some slides that you want to present anyway, so I'm just going to let you take it from here and, do your magic. Share with all of us. I mean, I have a
Sure.
notepad here. I'm going to be taking notes for myself, but I've actually already signed up for Carmen's program that's coming up. So I'm really excited for her to share this information and also invite other women that are watching this that want to participate with us.
Yeah. So what I'm going to share with you today is the hidden drivers of perimenopausal symptoms and why it's not always a question of estrogen. And I'm going to show you what you can do instead.
So
So
you gotta,
just quick,
I think you have to click that says enter full screen mode. There's a little purple button.
you don't see my slides?
No, there's actually a thing over top of it. If you go into presenter mode, so go back into
Yeah.
the Canva. 1 second, I'll show you. There's so go to present
Yeah.
and then go the first one, present full screen. So it's not
Oh,
the
so I can't do
one
the
more
presenting
over.
mode.
One more over. Yeah, that one should work.
But this one we did a second ago. That one didn't work. If I do this, do you
No,
see it?
there's a window blocking it.
Got it. Okay.
So
So
let's
let's
try the other one. There we
this
go.
one.
Yep,
Okay.
perfect.
So just quick credentials so you know I didn't make this stuff up. So I am a certified nutritional practitioner and I'm also a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. So that basically means I'm allowed to run lab work to find the causes of your symptoms, the fatigue, the weight, and all that. So I'm the founder of Context Nutrition. I'm the creator of the Optimal Energy Program and Peri Thrive. I've been working for about 15 years now. I've helped hundreds of women privately across Canada and the US. And my specialty and what I love is the metabolic health and hormone balance because I've had my own struggles with it, so I know what it's like. And I'm also a single mom, so I know what it's like to have really high stress and not a lot of support. So if I can have good health despite these lifestyle challenges, anyone can.
Right.
I'm also a former faculty member and instructor at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition in Vancouver here, and I've been privileged to work and study under some of the top doctors, PhD scientists in nutrition across the States and Canada who've given me access to info that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So what we'll cover today, I'm going to make this as simple as possible, is I'm going to talk about some quick facts that women are never told, some common symptoms and why they show up first in the brain, the real root causes behind hormone chaos, and what actually helps and what doesn't. So let's start with some quick facts. Here's what perimenopause is not. You are not crazy. You are not lazy, and your body is not broken. Perimenopause is not a disease or a diagnosis. What it is a natural life transition. It is our second puberty, in fact. So similar to when we went through hormone changes in our 13 years old, now we're going through it again in a different way. And it's important to mention that it is temporary. And so I love to call it cougar puberty because it happens to us when we're in our cougar decade, right?
Yeah.
So I love that.
They always say that life starts at 40, so
Oh, totally. Totally. So interestingly, it can start as early as your mid 30s, anywhere to your early 50s. Some women may not notice any signs at all until their late 40s or their early 50s. In fact, I was talking with a woman at Christmas time who said she had her period up until 56. So it really hits every woman differently. And it can last anywhere from 4 to 10 years once you're in it. How long it's going to last is different, and the symptoms are different for every woman. Like, I take my mom, for example, she didn't even know she was in it. She's like, I think I had one hot flash and then it was over.
same as
And
my
then
mom.
yeah. And then there's other women who have literally gone through divorces because it had that much of a negative effect on the relationship.
Mm.
And so it'll end when we've gone 12 months consecutively with no period, and that marks menopause for us. So it's important to note that perimenopause is not simply low estrogen. This is what most women think it is. So what it actually is erratic estrogen over that 4 to 10 year period. It's actually going to be going up and down. And so perimenopause often starts with high estrogen.
Mm.
So that is going to mean heavier bleeding, more pain, more cramps, breast tenderness, the period lasting longer, more irritability, rage. And over the course of your transition, it the estrogen will decline, but it's going to go down with peaks and valleys. So if we look at this little chart here, in the first column, this is premenopause when you're cycling normally. And then the orange line is the estrogen. So this would be the period of perimenopause for a woman. So over the course of those 10 years, it is going down, but it's going like this.
Mm.
And then once we get into menopause, the hormones regulate, and that calms a lot of like mood symptoms and stuff because now they're not bouncing all over the place. So this is why lab testing through your doctor, if they're testing the blood, can often be misleading because one day it can be high, the next day it's low. And so why is that repeating? Oh, sorry, I went the wrong way.
That's
Uh,
interesting, actually. I wanted to just touch on one thing.
sure.
So, I didn't even have any perimenopause or anything like that. Like when that happened to me, I went my labs that I did do with a doctor, they said that I went into full-blown menopause. Like I skipped that whole thing and just like hot flash syndrome, and it was quite crazy. So I'm curious to learn from you and how I can help starting to feel better. I would do anything to get my period back. That sounds crazy, but yeah.
Well, like I was telling you the other day, like during 2021, 2022, when the vaccine was rolled out, my clientele was split 50% who got it, 50% who didn't. And in the group that did, the stuff I saw with their periods, like at first I didn't know what was going on, but I
Hmm.
had women in their late 50s, early 60s who were full-blown menopausal for 10 years. They started cycling again. And then
Wow.
I had women whose periods would last 3 weeks of bleeding. So it was something is happening to the ovaries, that
Hmm.
spike protein. But I hope they continue to research it and not just cover it up.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, as I mentioned, estrogen can change from cycle to cycle and day to day. So in September, you may have had very high estrogen with your periods, so more irritability, more mood swings, more blood, and then in October it crashes and you're experiencing more depression. You can't focus, you're procrastinating work. So that your estrogen can change from cycle to cycle. It can also change from day to day. So when your estrogen is higher, you will have those classic PMS symptoms, the mood swings, the heavy periods, the irritability. And when it goes lower, this is when you're going to have a lower mood. You're not going to be motivated. You're going to stare at your laptop and you're like, my brain doesn't work. I can't think. You can't focus. You just want to go lie on the couch and binge Landman or whatever you're watching, right?
Totally.
So, if one day you're like raging, the next day you're sobbing, the next day you can't work, it's not you, it's your hormones. And so I really like to explain this by thinking that our body is a marionette doll and our hormones are literally pulling the strings, and our hormones control how we feel. So, some myths about perimenopause, a lot of women think it doesn't start till your 50s. So, as I've just explained, that's not true at all. It can start in the 30s. They think it starts when your period becomes irregular. So, maybe you go from 28 days to 33 days to 21 days. As you'll see, that's not true. Some may think that you can't conceive. I'm a walking testimonial. I had my second baby during perimenopause, so you can still be fertile. Weight gain is the big one that comes up. Women may think that it's absolutely inevitable, and I'm going to share some facts and light on this. And, automatically, I think a lot of women think we have to outsource our health to drugs, to hormones,
Mm.
right? And what's interesting, if we take a step back and we look at how menopause is approached in other parts of the world, in many parts, it's not even considered a medical thing. It's just seen as a life transition. So if we look at Japan, which is also a Western developed country, um, they don't go to the doctors for it. It's just a life transition, right? Um, so it's important to know that it doesn't automatically mean you have to go on hormones. Like for some, it may be great, but I'm going to show you how you may actually be able to get rid of a lot of the symptoms before even
And
considering
I'd like
that.
to touch on that as well because, when I discovered what was going on in my health and I did my live blood analysis, they did put me on hormones, okay? So I was on the estrogen pills for 6 months and also the creams. And, my body was not absorbing it because my body was so toxic and so sludgy. My blood was not even flowing. So I was taking these pills and spending over $500 on all of this hormones, and it did nothing for me at all. So I actually I stopped taking them because it wasn't doing anything for me at that point.
So I'm actually going to explain why. I think this is going to give you a big aha because that's actually really common. I've heard some women get worse, or they're spending all this money for a 10% reduction in hot flashes. And then for others, it doesn't do anything. So I'm going to explain why so it makes a lot more sense. So I'm going to start with some common symptoms and explain why they first show up in the brain. So perimenopause often affects our mental cognition first. Um, so if you notice more brain fog, it's like there's a fog in front of you. You can't see the laptop. You can't think properly. Word finding issues, like you're having conversations and it's like, can you pass me the white stuff? And they're like, what? The white stuff on the top shelf. And they're like, the milk? Yes, the milk for the coffee. Like if words just suddenly disappear, this is part of it. Memory lapses, forgetfulness. Like there was one time I showed up at Safeway in the entrance and I walked in and I just stopped and I'm like, why did I come here? I couldn't remember what I went to get. So it's just these random things. Um, Depression, anxiety. So mental cognition changes can start 7 to 8 years before you have irregular periods. So what do you call it? The transition of high estrogen and low estrogen will throw off your dopamine balance. And that can lead to a new diagnosis in the 40s that a lot of women are getting diagnosed with. Do you want to take a guess what it is?
Depression or
Yes, that's very common, but a new one is ADHD.
oh yeah, that makes sense. They they always, try to slough us off and misdiagnose us and just hand us a pill, right?
Yeah. So there's actually an epidemic of women who are being late diagnosed with ADHD. And what they're realizing is they've actually had it their entire life, but because their hormone levels were normal, they could mask it. But as soon as they hit perimenopause and there's changes to the estrogen, their dopamine crashes and they can't mask anymore. And for the first time, they're being diagnosed. So this is something that happened to me, and it was like everything made sense. It explained why I would always wait for the last minute to study for an exam or do a project. It's because I didn't have enough dopamine, so I was dependent on that stress response. Because when you're stressed, that cortisol will let you focus. So it was like everything made sense all of a sudden. So this is why so many like high performing women suddenly feel like they can't cope anymore. So, in terms of the body related symptoms, this could be hot flashes like you were having, Callie, or night sweats, which, by the way, are the same thing. They just happen at different times of the day. Weight gain, specifically in the belly, all sorts of sleep disturbances, but a very common one is waking up at 3 a.m. and you can't get back to sleep. Mood swings, you're normal one moment, the next moment you're raging at your kids for no reason. And I noticed that a lot of women will explain that in their 30s, they had a low stress tolerance, but they enter the 40s and it's zero. They have zero tolerance for
Wow.
stress. They need to buffer and cocoon more to get rid of those external stressors. Um, Heavy or unpredictable bleeding, cycle length changes, and breast tenderness. I did it again. Okay, so here's something crazy because most women, would you agree, that would look at all of these symptoms I just went through and they would think that these are hormonally related?
Yes.
I want to blow your mind.
Wow.
Everything here that's highlighted in yellow is caused by your metabolic health, not directly the hormones.
Wow.
So this was a massive wake up for me, is that 50 to 70% of the symptoms are driven by the state of our metabolic health. So this is actually really good news.
For the people that are watching this that don't know what metabolic health is, could you explain that?
On the next slide.
Okay.
Yeah. So these bottom ones here, these would be directly related to estrogen. So if you were having like unpredictable bleeding where you're worried about losing, your iron, those would be things you would go to your doctor for, but everything else is metabolic. So this is great news because it means we have way more control over our symptoms than we thought, and we can change this through our diet and lifestyle. So, what is metabolic health, you ask, Kelly? So, it basically refers to how well your body can maintain a healthy weight, your energy levels, your mood, and your appetite. So, your doctor can run a very simple test called the metabolic panel, and this is what they're going to look for. So, if you've had any blood testing done in the past 6 months, 12 months, go and look at this. So, you want to look at your fasting glucose and insulin, your triglycerides. Triglycerides are the stored fat on your body. Your cholesterol, your inflammatory markers. If you can get these three, TNF alpha, interleukin 6, this is golden. Your thyroid panel and liver enzymes. So when all of these are in healthy ranges, you're not going to have as many symptoms. But when they're off, this is when the symptoms are going to be elevated. So that brings us to what the real root causes are behind the hormone chaos, because it's not just your hormones, it's what your body does with them. So, hormone chaos is going to happen in your body when these three symptoms are off. So, number one is blood sugar. So, yeah, blood sugar, chronic stress, and impaired estrogen clearance. So, that involves your liver health and your gut health. So, this is going to give you answers, Kelly, for what you went through. So let's start with driver number one, which is blood sugar and insulin. So very basic. The role of insulin, think of it as a pickup truck. Its job is to take the sugar out of your bloodstream after you have a meal and deliver it to your liver, your muscles. And if there's any sugar left over, it's going to be stored on your body as fat. So its job, insulin, is to keep blood sugar levels stable, and that gives us sustainable energy levels throughout the day. So if your blood sugar, your glucose and insulin levels are off, this is where you're going to have more fat storage, specifically in the belly. There's going to be more inflammation, which leads to more of the mental cognition issues, like you can't find words, the forgetfulness, and then also more pain. So this is the 40s. I'm getting a lot of clients complaining about, hip pain, knee pain, lower back pain, period pain. That's inflammation. More PMS-like symptoms like heavy cramps, heavy bleeds, the breast tenderness, the mood swings, and the nightly wake-ups.
I have a
So,
question on this. Now,
yeah.
what if after a meal your body always craves sugar?
Okay, that is what we call insulin resistance. So basically, when your body is not responding to insulin, it means the glucose can't get into the cells. That's bad. We need carbohydrates. They break down to sugar. Every cell in the body functions with glucose, your brain especially. So if the sugar can't get into your brain or the other organs, it can't do its job. So
Hmm.
if you eat a meal and you're still hungry or you're craving sugar, that is a very classic sign that you potentially have insulin resistance, which is prediabetes.
Somebody actually told me that it could be also related to parasites.
That would be more like sugar cravings, but that would be at any time of the day,
Hmm.
random times.
Hmm.
Insulin resistance is directly related to right after the meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah.
I can't
And
wait to
like
do all
for
my.
the nighttime wake ups, like I've been helping women for 15 years stop waking up at 3 a.m. by what I get them to eat for dinner. So
Hmm.
I teach you how to eat to balance the blood sugar so you stay asleep during the night and you don't wake up.
Yeah, I have horrible sleeps.
Oh, I can't wait to help you.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to do all these tests.
Oh my God, it's so much fun. So the second one is stress and cortisol. Cortisol is our stress hormone. So if our levels of cortisol in the bloodstream are elevated on a continual basis, this is going to negatively impact our estrogen levels. One of the reasons is that cortisol will drive down progesterone.
Hmm.
So, one of the jobs of progesterone, think of it as our natural Xanax. Progesterone helps us sleep, it calms us down, it gets rid of anxiety. So, the first thing a woman is going to notice when her progesterone is depleted is she can't sleep, she's having way more anxiety, she's anxious all the time, um, like nervous, and she's going to have more pain during her period. So, I can teach you how to get the cortisol down so we can save the progesterone you're making. Um, Cortisol, we know the number one job of cortisol is to raise blood sugar. And when blood sugar goes up, we store fat specifically in the belly. So that's why we call it the stress belly. It increases visceral fat. So that's the dangerous fat around our organs, which we don't want. And it's just going to amplify all of those brain and body symptoms during PMS and perimenopause. And the third one is liver and gut health because of how it affects our estrogen metabolism. So I'm going to see if I can explain this really well. So every day our body makes estrogen. We can only use it once, and then the body wants to break it down and remove it from your body via your stool or your urine. If your body does this well on a daily basis, this means you have good estrogen metabolism. That means you're going to have less symptoms, less night sweats, less hot flashes, less mood swings. So this is good. If you are not clearing it at the end of the day, this is bad. It means you are going to have way more symptoms, more hot flashes, more mood swings, more, brain stuff going on. So think of estrogen as a lemon. You can only use it once. You can't use a lemon tomorrow, right? The same lemon. So what we want is that used estrogen is removed from the body. But if your estrogen metabolism isn't working well, what's going to happen is that used estrogen is going to get thrown back into circulation. And when it goes back into circulation, think of it as an evil cartoon character with an evil laugh. It's going to start doing bad things in your body, and those bad things are going to cause more symptoms. So here's a classic scenario. A woman could come to me. I test her estrogen. It shows as low, but she's presenting with high estrogen symptoms, which doesn't make sense. And so what happens is if you test a woman's hormones, it'll only test what you're making. It doesn't test for the recycled used estrogen. So this is my concern with women taking exogenous hormones is if they're already not metabolizing it well, they're going to amplify those symptoms. So that's why when you were taking the estrogen, I would suspect that your metabolism was off because of everything you went through, and it was just amplifying those symptoms because it couldn't break it down properly.
Yeah.
And, when I run the hormone panels on women, it's very easy to see if the hormones are balanced between the estrogen and progesterone because these little arrows or the triangles, they're supposed to point in the exact same direction. And when they're pointing in the exact same direction, this means your hormones are balanced.
Mm.
But right away, we can see this woman's estrogen is higher than the progesterone. Sorry, for clarification, it should be between the two yellow stars. This is the optimal range. So this woman, her estrogen isn't even that high, right? She's on the lower end of normal, but because it's higher than where her progesterone is, she's going to have those symptoms. And I would suspect it's because her metabolism wasn't doing its job. So this brings me to the next part, which is not all estrogen is equal. So when your body breaks down estrogen, it breaks it down into three metabolites. And your body needs all three, but the ratio of each one is really important. We want 80% of our estrogen to be broken down into this metabolite called 2-hydroxy. You want 60 to 80%. So this woman this was like a test result. She's at 46.
Do you know
So
what her age range is, just for reference?
early 40s.
Okay.
Um, when you're producing 60 to 80% of this green metabolite, this is going to protect you from cancers. And it also means you're going to feel good because you're going to be metabolizing well. For the red one, the 4-hydroxy, we want it to be between 7.5 and 11. If it goes higher than 11, this can be concerning because it has the potential to cause DNA damage. And if you're not eating the right diet with antioxidants and stuff, this can lead to cancer. And the blue one, the 16-hydroxy, we don't want it going over 30%. So in this case, this woman's body was 40% of it was that metabolite. This is the one that increases your risk of hormone-sensitive cancers, breast, uterine, endometrial, endometriosis.
Wow.
The good news, that all of this is fixed through diet. It's not fixed through throwing a woman on HRT. This is stuff we can fix at home.
Yeah, that's concerning because a lot of the doctors probably are not taking a deeper dive in this testing and they're prescribing something that may not work for a person or could actually cause more harm because they're not educated enough to get the proper testing done to support the person exactly where they are with what they need. So I'm so grateful to have you part of this network. This is a
Thank
lot
you.
of information that nobody knows about.
You just
Even
gave
I've
me
gone to
goosebumps, Callie.
gynecologists. I've gone to gynecologists. I've gone for all the life labs, and my doctor just keeps telling me, "Oh, I'm in normal range. I'm in normal range."
I
Well,
know.
clearly I'm not. Like I'm not even allowed in her office anymore. I like literally blew up at her.
Well, it's because they're not trained to understand the root cause. They're trained to treat the symptom. So if they see low estrogen, they're trained to give you estrogen, but they're not questioning why is it low,
Hmm.
right? So that's why they're not doing the comprehensive testing that I'm doing is because that's not their scope of practice. Their scope of practice is to keep us from dying essentially, which is good, but they're not there for us to live in optimal health,
No.
especially when it's, government paid. I mean, optimal health, you have to pay out of pocket. That's just the way it is.
Well, let's just be real. If we were all super healthy, we had no reason to go to the doctor, and then they would be broke.
Yeah, it's just hard to go down those rabbit holes sometimes, but
Yeah.
yeah. So I'll quickly show you what would slow down estrogen metabolism. So one is you're not getting enough fiber in your diet because one of the main jobs of fiber is to bind to estrogen and pull it out in your stool. So that's an easy fix. The next one is gut dysbiosis. So this is a fancy word to say there's an overgrowth of bad bacteria in your gut. And so, taking HRT isn't going to fix this. What's going to fix this is you have to do a gut healing protocol. We have to take stuff to clear those bad guys out and then raise the good bacteria up. Um, because the bad guys will throw that used estrogen back into circulation. So you will never balance hormones so long as you have gut issues going on. You have to work on the gut first. The third one is alcohol. Now, listen, I'm not going to judge alcohol consumption. I'm a wine lover myself, and I'm not about to change. But we do need to be intentional with it in our 40s because what happens is your liver has to process both alcohol and estrogen in the same day. And if it has the choice between the two, it's always going to break down the alcohol first because it's a poison and it has to get it out. So if you're at the point where you are relying on, wine or margaritas or whatever for stress reduction, 3, 4 times a week, it is absolutely going to affect your hormones. There's just no way your body can clear it out.
We should come up with a healthy wine for women in their 40s.
I have it. I
Yay!
did a presentation called wine hacking. So I
Oh,
teach you everything you need to know to look at on a label so that you can drink intentionally, decrease the negative risks, and then I talk about what supplements to take to speed up the detoxification. So
okay, we got to
there's
do a
no
new
way
talk
we
on
can
that.
have both.
Let's do a new talk on that one for sure.
Oh, anytime. Um, so chronic stress. So listen, we're never going to get rid of the stressors in our life. So this is not to make anyone feel bad because I always say it's not fair because perimenopause hits us at the decade when we're going through the most amount of stressors. I mean, the 40s are where we're dealing with financial struggles, mortgage, interest rates going up, parenting struggles, relationship issues, divorce, co-parenting. This is when everything hits us. And it's hitting us when we have zero stress tolerance. Like, it's not fair. And I don't have any spiritual reason as to why this happens. It just is what it is. So here's what I can say. There are things we can do to lower the stress. There's, there's diet, there's lifestyle hacks, there's supplements. There are things we can do to reduce the cortisol levels so that you can start speeding up that metabolism. And the last one is insulin resistance. So this means insulin isn't doing its job. The glucose is staying high in the bloodstream longer, which is leading to not just weight gain, but it's also leading to like brain fog and your brain not working. So what I want to reiterate is two women can come to me. They can have the exact same estrogen levels if I test them, but how they are going to do in their perimenopause journey can be completely different. And it has everything to do with their diet, their lifestyle, and their estrogen metabolism. So, like the woman on the left here, if she's dealing with like really bad sleep and her insulin's not working well and she's under high stress, she's going to do worse than the woman who knows how to eat to balance blood sugar. She knows how to strength train. She's getting the fiber. So, again, same estrogen levels, but completely different experience. So, I want to touch on weight loss because this is a big one that most women are struggling with. And it really does change from our 30s to our 40s. And I'm a testament to this because I did not change my diet from my 30s to 40s. If anything, I improved my exercise and movement, I improved my sleep, and yet the weight started going on. And this is really frustrating if you are paying attention to your health. So, this is why. Naturally, just like we will naturally go gray, our insulin sensitivity is going to get poorer naturally, and that's going to lead to well, more fat is going to be stored on your body. So it's not something you did per se. It's just, I don't want to say it's the body breaking down, but it's just the natural course of events. Our cells will become less sensitive to insulin, and that's going to affect our weight. We start to lose muscle after well, technically it starts in the 30s, but the 40s for sure. They say you can lose anywhere from 3 to 8% of your muscle over the decade. So to put that in perspective, I have about 70 pounds of skeletal muscle on me. So that's like the biceps, the quads, the glutes. If I lose 8% of that over the course of the 40s, it works out to like 7 pounds of muscle loss, which is significant
Hmm.
because muscle is what boosts our metabolism. So we burn more fat on the body. Our progesterone starts to decline, and it happens because our stress goes up. And so, like I said before, when your cortisol goes up, it's going to drive your progesterone down, and that's going to lead to more belly fat. And we become less metabolically flexible. Basically, what that means is what worked in our 30s is not going to work in our 40s. We have to update it. So you can't do extreme diets anymore. You can't do HIIT workouts or marathons or cardio or fasting. You need to know how to adapt your diet and lifestyle strategies for the 40s because things have changed. You got
I
a
have a
question?
question on this because I know quite a few people that are doing the
Intermittent.
carnivore diet right
Oh,
now.
yeah.
And I noticed that a lot of them are dealing with way more pain and inflammation because, they're putting in all these like fats and, butter and, steaks and things in the diet. But I noticed that some of the people that are going through the carnivore diet are actually having way more inflammation in their body. I wonder if it has anything to do with them, and their hormone levels that is not allowing them to absorb the good fats.
It would be because it's too stressful on their body. Our
Mhm.
bodies need the carbs, especially in our 40s, and so it's putting too much stress on the body, and then that's going to increase cortisol levels, which increases pain and inflammation.
Oh.
So, I mean, carnivore is just starting to be studied right now. I know Harvard is studying it because I do follow the movement, and I did the diet for a month because I was just so curious. Where I see good clinical application for it is for people who have like autoimmune
Hmm.
conditions where because it's the ultimate elimination diet, you're pulling out all the grains and the legumes, all the things we react to, and it allows the body to calm down. But for a regular person who doesn't have autoimmune conditions or a lot of food sensitivities, you don't need to be on it.
Right.
So it's too stressful, is what it
Hmm.
is. And it's hard to get enough calories. I was struggling. I could not hit.
I just want
a-
to know what they do for work to be able to afford a steak every day.
Oh, yeah. I bought like a freezer full of
Yeah.
baseball steaks, and
Yeah.
trust me, you get sick of it after a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last one is that our liver efficacy, it naturally starts to slow down. So if it's slowing down, it's not going to process, or let's say it's not going to get rid of the estrogen as effectively. It's not going to break down the alcohols effectively. So it gets overburdened more easily, and it also leads to more fat storage. However, I want women to understand it's not a lack of willpower. It's your physiology, it's chemistry. So I hope this removes some guilt because I know women are feeling like, what's wrong with me? What am I doing wrong? It's not for lack of trying. It's just the natural changes that take place. We have to tweak what we're doing. Okay, so I always like to say that the hormones are the spark, but the metabolic health is the fuel. That's what's going to drive the hormone levels. So when your hormones, when your metabolic health is healthy, the symptoms are going to whisper, but when your metabolic health is not, the symptoms are going to scream. So I always like to think of it as changes to estrogen will open the door to symptoms, but whether those symptoms scream or whisper depends on your metabolic health. And you can control this by tweaking your diet and lifestyle. So again, same woman, but every woman is going to go through perimenopause, but not every woman is going to suffer. So here's what actually helps and what doesn't. So what doesn't work in our 40s is you cannot be cutting calories. You cannot be doing high intensity workouts or cardio. Like I see so many women at the gym, running for half an hour or more on the treadmills. And I'm like, you are doing more damage than you realize. You can't be skipping meals. You can't go to work, forget to eat breakfast, forget to eat lunch, and then you come home and you binge your dinner and you're eating a tub of ice cream, right? Like it's too stressful on the body. It doesn't know, do I conserve the fat or do I burn it? Because you're not being consistent with the body. Trying to balance hormones without supplements or doing proper testing. Just trying to push through exhaustion and burnout is going to backfire. And treating your symptoms, so taking HRT, and please understand, I'm not anti-HRT at all. I'm just pro giving information so people know what's best for them. You have to address the metabolism. So what's going to help is you need to learn how to balance your blood sugar. So we do this through diet, getting more muscle on our body, and there's some lifestyle tweaks that are going to help balance it. You need to support your estrogen metabolism. So again, there are certain foods we want to eat that are going to help speed that up. We need to fix any gut issues and we need to improve liver health. And you want to lower the cortisol. So we can do this through food, nervous system regulation, knowing what type of exercise works. And there's supplements to help too, because, honestly, sometimes we just need to swallow something to get results fast. And there's nothing wrong with that. So here's the good stuff. This is what happens when you learn how to tweak your diet and lifestyle practices for being in your 40s, is you will wake up refreshed in the morning. You are going to feel more calm and in control of your emotions. You're going to feel happier overall. Your cravings will disappear. So sugar cravings will disappear. The salt cravings disappear. The fat begins to respond to what you're doing again, which is important because it can be stagnated, but when it starts to respond to your actions, that's really nice. Your sleep will become restorative. So you'll be able to fall asleep and stay asleep during the night. If you're dealing with pain, that usually subsides. Period pain, I usually can help women get rid of it in about 3 months. So with each cycle they go through, it gets better and better. Night sweats decrease, the hot flashes die down, and you may stop waking up in the middle of the night to pee. That was something that was affecting me. And I'm like, where is this coming from? I've never had to wake up to pee before, and suddenly I couldn't get through the night, and that scared me.
Yeah.
But I was able to fix it, which is great. So, don't take my word for it. Like, here's just one of my many testimonials from, she was in her late 40s when I was working with her. And she said, just over a few weeks, I lost 10 pounds, gained back energy levels I thought were not possible, dropped the menopause story that convinced me that my mood swings, forgetfulness, and weight gain were just a part of getting older, and became an overall happier woman, friend, and mama. So, like, that to me is everything when you feel like a better person overall and you're better with your kids, like that's huge. So I just want to reframe, you don't need another restrictive diet. You just need to reset your metabolism specific for where we're at in this stage of life. So how do we reset this? So I've developed an 8-week reset for women called Peri Thrive, which is designed for women in their 40s. And it addresses both the metabolic health and the hormonal imbalances so that you restore your energy, you clear brain fog, stabilize your mood, we fix the sleep, and we can start to release the stubborn belly fat. There's no extreme diets, there's no burnout. So, what I have for you is a special one-time offer. This is the only time I'm offering this, is I'm looking for 8 women who were going through this in their 40s. I mean, if you're in your late 30s or early 50s, it still works, who want to wake up refreshed, feel more calm, think clearly. I think that is everything. Stay asleep and release belly fat in 8 weeks. So we start in March. And this is a beta round. So what this means is you're going to help shape the future of this program. So I've already taken, I've already put you in it, Kelly. And this is the other woman, Christine, who's joined. So I've got 8 spots left to fill it. So there's 2 options available. You can either do the core, which is 8 weeks of live group coaching. So you show up, I teach you what to do, and then we have a private WhatsApp group. So you can bitch, you can spill the beans, you can share your wins. Or if you want to go deeper, you can upgrade to do the VIP. So that's everything you get in core. Plus, I'm going to run those 2 functional labs on you. So I'm going to do the full hormone panel. We're going to look at your estrogen metabolism. We're going to look at your cortisol levels, all your hormones, and we're going to look at your gut health. Then I'll design a personal plan for you, designed for your symptoms and what came back on the labs, and you get some private sessions. So the beta special I'm offering is for the women that go through this first group, you get it for 50% off, which I'm never going to offer it at this price again.
That's
So
amazing.
it's a,
50% off is amazing. Thank you so
yeah,
much.
yeah, thank you. So and all the beta test means is I'm just looking for feedback really
Hmm.
on how to improve it. So that is the end of my presentation. Thanks for anyone that has watched it to the end. So if you do want to connect with me, the easiest way is just to book you in for a call. I don't know how to share the link. So you can always email me at carmen@contextnutrition.ca, but I can also send you the link in the chat box so you could post that.
Yeah, we can I'm gonna actually tag you in this live and so then you can put your all of your contact information for anybody that wants to do this program with me.
I
Uh,
know.
I'm really excited. I'm actually doing the VIP one because I think it's important for me to get these lab tests done. And I'm also going to send her my previous life labs and my other hormone testing that I did. So we have a really good thing to fall back on to see where I was prior to starting working with her. Plus, I haven't had any labs done recently, and I'm actually going to get some of those done as well. And then she has some other amazing tests that we're going to be doing because the biggest thing, and I think it's so important, is before you start a program like this, you need to see where you're at. And
Yeah.
that's the best thing about working directly with Carmen and having her part of our community is we get to work directly with her to optimize our health and see the improvements as we go through the program with her.
Yeah, so you always want to start with a baseline. So if you've already got blood work that's been done within 3 months, I'll review that for you, or I can give you the list of things to ask your doctor to test for. So those are the same things I gave you. And then at the end of 3 months, go back to the doctor and get tested again for the same metabolic panel. And then you will really have your before and after. I mean, the proof is in the pudding. And
Right.
your doctor is going to be happy too, right? Because I'm sure there are doctors that don't really want to put you on insulin and stuff, right? So if you can reduce those numbers, that makes them happy too. But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, even just getting the information and I give you all the calculators and everything to work things out. But if you can upgrade to VIP, it's next level. I mean, I'm going to be telling you stuff about yourself you've never heard before. And all my clients tell me that's what made the difference. So
Right. And you don't really know what you don't know. So
yeah,
now you can get all these testing done and get all this information. So then you do know you can learn through this program and the diet and everything that you're doing how to feel better. Guys, girls, don't we all want to feel better? Some of us are going crazy over here, and there's a solution sitting right here. This amazing woman, thanks to Rachel Leone. Shout out, girlfriend. I see you watching the live.
Oh,
Um,
yay.
and thank you for this connection. Like, I have goosebumps. I've been asking for answers since this happened to me. And, I would give anything to give my energy back. I mean, I've been feeling so lethargic. I haven't even been able to work out in almost like 3 years. So
Yeah.
even just to be able to go back to the gym again and actually have energy to do stuff would mean the world to me.
And you know what? That's actually something that a lot of women will say to me is that they don't have the energy to work out. And after they do the program, they have the energy to work out. But I mean, most women coming in, that's not top of mind for them. They're not like, oh, I want to be able to work out. But once they get the energy, they're like, I think I can join a gym.
Yeah,
Like they feel motivated. But if I were to tell you that this is what you would feel before you started with me, you wouldn't believe me. You have to
right,
go through it and see. Like women just blossom. And I could never have imagined they would have like had such a transformation, but some type of magic happens when they join and they surprise themselves with what they're capable of. So it's
right.
really a beautiful process to witness that transformation in these ladies.
Oh, yeah. I mean, thank you so much for taking this time for our amazing Wellness Wednesday. I mean, me and you can talk about this kind of stuff forever, but I want to, respect everybody's time. I'm going to make sure all of her information is put in this live. It also will be converted to our YouTube. It will be going up on our podcast channel. It will be going up on her Facebook profile, and it'll also be going up on our new platform. So there's going to be a number of different ways that you can connect with her, but let's lock arms and let's all do this together as a community. All of us women doing this together and supporting each other that are part of our network. That would be mean the world to me, to not have to go through this alone and to have that support system in place, and work with some of you as well, while we're going through this and motivate each other. We can even go for like nice walks if we're all in the same area, and really make the best of it. And Carmen's actually here, so she's probably going to be end up being one of our speakers at our events and on stage at our big vendors market that's coming up in April as well. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. And that's I'm only just starting the marketing for this program, but I think I can already fill it with just women locally.
Yeah,
So if I mean Christine is in Montreal, but even if we have 9 of us, um, I've got so many ideas of things we could do in person, but I'm not gonna, I would rather under promise and over deliver, but I've
right.
got some other ideas of things we could do together. And this is why doing live group coaching is special. I don't normally do it, is because of the friendships that are made. Like I've got past clients now that are going to each other's baby showers and stuff like that.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
the community aspect is really, it's a big part of the healing, that's for sure.
For sure. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time for our amazing Wellness Wednesday. I'm going to end the call now, and I'll make sure that all Carmen's contact information is everywhere so you all can get information. Book a call with her if you need to, and let's start this journey together, this new journey. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm,
So I
I'm
just put the link in the chat box.
Okay, great. I
Um,
will copy that and then I will post it on our Facebook Live and everything so people can gather all that information from you. And anybody that needs any more information or anything, please just reach out to Carmen directly. She's now one of our newest members of our network. So you'll be seeing lots of her in the next up and coming little while. But, once again, thank you for taking the time to educate me and all of us, and give us a new lease on life. I think it's really important that we really truly understand how to optimize our health, and that's the one reason why I started this network, is to connect all of our members with amazing people like yourself. So once again, thank you again for taking the time today to do this Wellness Wednesday talk. I'm so grateful to have met you.
me too. Thank you, Kelly.
Awesome. Okay, have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.